Yeah. This is Shante Ragin. We're back in the home of Mr. Willie Brown. And you probably saw in the previous video, just a little under 2 minutes. We had a few technical difficulties, but you did get that introduction. So, but we are back. And you were telling me on that last part, we are talking about your family. And
Right.
we got to understand that this is your mom and dad, your oldest son. We talked about your daughter. Pictures of you when you were about 20 years old.
29.
Your family history.
I'd say 29.
Now, you don't look any more than about 50, maybe even 60 years old.
Well, you make me feel good with that, but I am actually 82.
82 years old.
82 years, and I was 82 years old June the 24th.
Wow. Well, happy belated birthday. We just missed your birthday.
Thank you.
And then, I took a picture of the Negro League hat that you have here.
Right.
You were at President Obama's inauguration. Tell us a little bit about your history as it relates to sports and your contribution to the Negro League and all of that. Just start wherever you feel.
Well, to be honest with you, now, when I speak of the Negro League, I was there for a very short time, 1955, and then 1956. I was out of the Negro League, but I knew a lot. The reason why I know a lot about it, because as a young man coming up, that's all we had. And I followed them, like being a member, living in my home's Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And Birmingham Black Barons was the Negro League team in our area. So that's where that part comes in. But I played semi-pro ball and all of that. Well, now, when I played against Hank Aaron, he wasn't in the Negro League. He was in Mobile. Well, see, we used to travel from Tuscaloosa and play in Mobile. Shipment would come there, shipments, and we'd go there and play different teams. That's how I got to.
So you played against Hank Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
Sure did.
Wow.
And I saw some ball players. I saw Jackie Robinson play. I saw Willie Mays play, oh God, so many times. Yeah. I saw, most of the black old ball players, Don Newcomb, Roy Campanella. I saw all those guys play. And it was just amazing. So after I started working for the government and I was in California, that's when I gave up playing in 1968. And I went right away to less than a year. I started umpiring. So most of my sport career was umpiring. I mean, my adult really. When I was a teenager and all, I played ball. That proclamation that will tell you. But that was one of the things that we did. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get started in baseball? What was like the basis, and when did you know that you wanted to play baseball, and how did that come about?
Well, I'm going to show you something right here. Just stay right there a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what started. Oh God! Oh, now hold it now.
Okay.
I'm going to show you why we were so interested in baseball, because we was taught this game of baseball. Right there.
Okay. So what are we looking at right here?
You're looking at the baseball team from my hometown. This is they told me this is a 1942 picture of these baseball. All these guys on this, everybody on this picture here, I knew, but I was a little boy. And they taught us this game of baseball. That's what we had. Now this gentleman right here, well, what they call him, Frank Rochelle Bujack. If he had been white, he would have been in the major league.
Wow. And he was that good.
He was that good, and most of these guys on there was that good. But this guy was an exceptional ball player.
Frank
Rochelle.
Rochelle. Now your hometown. Where was your hometown?
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's his brother right there, Mac Lester Roche. Yeah. Yeah.
Never got a chance to go.
No, you know that time. Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the first in 1947.
Right.
I was 10 years old when Jackie Robinson went to the major league.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here at this newspaper clipping where it says, after 45-year career, umpire calls his final out. Tell me about that.
Well, I did it for 45 years.
Okay.
And I did double-A baseball. I umpired double-A baseball. I was an alternate in triple-A. I never made it to the major league, but I did all kind of college and high school and semi-pro ball and all of that.
And all of that.
Yeah.
So just kind of going back, and we'll get pictures of all of that. And just, it's just like what I was telling you before. The purpose in our interview today is to preserve African American history.
Right.
We interview people all over, and
that's wonderful.
To preserve African American history is just awesome to be here with you today. And I do want to definitely thank you for inviting us, Kevin and our daughter, my angel, who's behind the camera right now. Thank you so much. And we promise to make sure that your history and what you've done stays alive.
Okay. Well, just let me give you a little history, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
We'll go away from sports for a minute.
Yes, sir.
And to tell you that I was able to be a part of the first African American president of the United States.
Yes, sir.
I attended his inauguration.
Yes, sir.
And I was on CNN. Let me tell you the story that how this happened right quick. We were standing in D.C. My niece, she's on that in that book too. My nephew's wife, Woodard Wyatt, my nephew passed away. In front of, I don't know if you ever heard of Ben's Chili Bowl in D.C. or not, but it was famous because I got the picture where I'm sitting at the table with Bill Cosby and President Obama ate when they came to Ben Chili Bowl during his campaigning. So we were standing outside because the line was everybody wanted to go in Ben's Chili Bowl because it was so famous where the president and Bill Cosby ate. So this TV reporter came up and he said, "Mister," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I interview you?" I said, "What? What do you mean interview?" He said, "Just want to interview you." I said, "For what?" He said, "Well, just because this is history." I'm saying history. I said, "Yeah, it's history." He said, "But so I want you to tell, why you're here and all that." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, yeah, I'll be interviewed." He said, "Well, can you hold up just a minute? Let me go get my cameraman." I said, "Okay." So we're standing there, and Nell and I and her son. And I said, "That guy, she said, I said, "That guy talking about he want to interview me, crazy, he ain't coming back." So he come back. He said, "Mister, I'm back." I said, "Well," he said, "I want to interview you." I said, "Okay." So then he said, "Well," I said, "What you want me to talk?" He said, "Just anything. Tell why you're here and all that." I said, "Well, now, I came here from Ohio." I said, "But I'm originally from Alabama." He says, "What?" I said, "Yep." He says, "Okay." He said, "Well, what?" I said, "I was in Alabama with George Wallace, drew the line in the sand. Segregation yesterday, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever." He says, "Oh my God." And so I said, "Yep." So I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "What TV station are you with?" He said, "I'm with CNN." I said, he said, "Yeah." He said, "Mister, this is the best interview I've had." And this was on a Sunday. He said, "This is the best interview I've had." He said, "If you tell your family and your friends to turn on CNN in the morning, they will see you on this interview."
Wow.
Said, "Okay."
So you actually had a CNN interview. Your historical significance is such that CNN decided to interview you.
Yes. Now let me tell you what happened. So we goes in there and I'm sitting at Ben's Chili Bowl and so then and so we laughed about it. I told her, I said, "That guy, you don't see no CNN." She said, "Okay." So the next morning, which was that Monday, Tom Joyner, that's why you see Tom Joyner in that book. Tom Joyner morning show was at Ben Chili Bowl. So I told my niece, I said, "Nell, I'm going down to," she said, "Well, you going by yourself." She said, "That's too early." I was there. I can show you. Well, it's there. So about 9 o'clock that morning, my son was living in Texas. So he called me. He said, I told him, what my boy want? He just want to be nosy, you know? And I said, hey, what you want? He said, I want to be the first one to get your autograph. I said, what are you talking about? What autograph? He said, you on CNN right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Then while we were talking, his father-in-law at the time was in, not Jacksonville. He was in Florida. So he said, wait a minute, don't hang up. He said, that's my dad-in-law. I heard him tell him, he said, Edgar, if you look at CNN, your dad is on. He said, I know it, I'm looking at it. My sister, this sister right here, she's passed away. Mm-hmm. She was in Alabama. She got up that morning. For some reason, she said she just left the TV, cut the TV on, and it was on CNN, and she goes in the kitchen to fix her coffee.
I see you.
And she said that when she was fixing the coffee, she heard this guy talking. She said, what did this guy talk about? He's from Alabama and all that. And he said, but that sounds like, that voice sounds familiar. She looked around the corner with a cup of coffee in her hand, and she dropped her coffee on the floor. She said, oh, Lord, that's my brother on TV.
On CNN.
On CNN.
On CNN.
And I had so many calls from Alabama, and one of my friends, he said, Willie Brown, I turned the TV on this morning and said, hey, what you ass doing on CNN?
So what sorts of questions did the interviewer ask you when you were doing that CNN?
Well, he didn't ask me no questions. He just asked me to give a speech, and I did, and I told him about Alabama, and it was so amazing, you know, and it wasn't a real long interview, but I wish to this day, my son tried to get a tape of it, but CNN, because they said that it was, these was contractor guys that they had hired, and he said that it was almost impossible to get it.
By what year was that?
In 2009.
Okay.
We might can get it.
Get it.
I hope you can.
Yeah,
if you can get
call Don Lemon, some of the people we know at CNN, Gail. We know people that work at
CNN. Tell them you want the one where this guy, Willie Brown, was standing in front of Ben's Chili Bowl on a Sunday.
Okay.
But we had it, after we ate, we went up to, we went around to the Lincoln Memorial. Oh, that's when the show was on, boy. Obama and Mary J. Blige and Stevie Wonder. I think did y'all see them? Ooh, we had a ball. I got pictures in there.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
And that's when it was. But my son, we tried to get it. Now, one lady in Ohio, in Cleveland, she had one of those things where she taped it, but she couldn't run anything off of it. And I just saw it briefly, but I never saw it. I really did.
We'll try to get it.
We'll try to get a copy of that interview for you.
Oh God! Man, you don't know what a blessing that would be. And this, I was at Kelly Ingram Park.
This is Voices of Civil Rights. Right. Dear Willie Brown, thank you for sharing your story with the Voices of Civil Rights Project. This certificate recognizes your invaluable contribution to the successful effort to build the world's largest archive of first-hand accounts of the American Civil Rights Movement. Your personal story, along with the thousands of others from people across the country, will now be transferred to the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. The permanent collection will inform and educate future generations and inspire the civil rights leaders of tomorrow. You may take great pride in your contribution. Thank you for making a difference, and please display your certificate proudly. Sincerely, Rick Bowers, Director of Voices of Civil Rights.
That's my certificate, right?
P.S. The History Channel will air a special documentary on the project on February 12, 2005. I encourage you and your family and friends to watch this important program.
And I didn't see that. I didn't see that either. I missed that.
Voices of Civil Rights certificate.
That's my certificate.
Thank you for sharing your story, Mr. Willie Brown.
Yeah.
So, I would say significant outlets from CNN, Voices of Civil Rights have recognized your contribution.
Right.
Tell me about that. I mean, what does that mean to you to be recognized for
It
what
made
you've
me.
done?
It made me feel like God, heaven just smiled down on me, because here's the thing: I never thought that I would live to see this day, like black man, and I'm standing on Pennsylvania Avenue with a parade, and this black president come by. You know, I never thought I'd see that.
You see that?
And then this is in the archive, and I told my children, I told my grandchildren, I said, if you ever wanted to know where history was made, I'll be glad. You take me there, I'll be glad to show you where I was standing when history was made.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
We'll have to get on a road trip and actually
Sure.
do that. So,
And let me tell you, I lived in Virginia for 20 years. This lady right here and I were married. We was at the inauguration ball of the first black governor of the United States.
the first black governor.
Of the United States.
Okay, who was that?
Douglas Wilder.
Douglas Wilder. You were there.
At the inauguration ball, did the electric slide with his daughter. We was all doing the electric slide.
Wow.
Together. How we got there now was through this lady right here. Wait a minute, baby. I know. Lord have mercy.
It's close here. You gotta go, man.
No. I don't have to go yet. No.
We're gonna come back and get the rest of it.
You gonna come back
You
and
need
get
to
the
slide
rest
that
of it.
in there. That's pictures of.
But I
people
just
that
want to
played
show
in the
you
Negro League. No,
how
I'm
we
just
got to
saying,
the
when you
inauguration.
interview, that's people that played in the Negro League.
No.
That was before you. That was it.
No, that wasn't in the Negro League. That was the Hammer. That was what they called it back in the day, Sandlot baseball team.
Okay.
No, that wasn't here. That wasn't in the Negro
Okay.
League. But I'll show you something. But this lady right here is the reason we was at Doug Wilder's inauguration ball. Her name is Mary Christian. You go straight and go to your right. You walk right to it. She just died. As a matter of fact, my wife died on the 15th. They had her funeral on the 18th. She was 95 years old.
Wow, she looked fantastic.
Her name was Mary Christian. And now you want to read about her.
Historical female.
Yes, ma'am. She
We're
was
gonna
tough.
make sure that we read up on her.
Yeah, her name was Dr. Mary Christian.
Dr. Mary Christian.
And you can open that up and you know, and look at, because I got a obituary of my wife. Now my wife, some of this you might, if you want to take that with you and read up on it.
Well, we'll leave it because we're coming back.
You coming back, right?
Yes, sir. We're gonna come back and make sure we get pictures and everything of everything
Right,
because
right.
it's so precious. We want to make sure that we're
But
prepared.
see, this is you see that? Look at it. Look at that right up on her.
Mary Christian.
This lady was a monster.
Was
She was
something.
a senator. She was a state of Congress or senator, one of them. But anyway, how we got to the inauguration ball for Doug Wilder, her daughter was married to my wife's brother, and we all had she was able to get tickets to us to that
to go in.
Yep.
So I have to ask you because we are definitely studying the history of Porterdale. We're going into our third year with the Porterdale History Tour and doing history tours in Newton County. Tell me about Porterdale, Georgia. What is your experience with Porterdale, Newton County, and the Negro League? Because Porterdale was one of the only places where African Americans was allowed to play in Georgia besides downtown Atlanta.
Now I never played there. No, I never played in
Porterdale.
Porterdale. No, but I played in Memphis, Tennessee. Now they were the only Negro League in the Negro League. They were the only one that had the big stadium. They had all. It was fabulous. Memphis, Tennessee.
In Memphis.
Yeah, in Memphis.
So what year was that?
That was I played in 1955. Yeah.
55. Wow.
And and they was just, and I got like I said, I'm gonna pull this out for you, you to see, and so you,
So we are here in the home of Willie Brown, played for the Negro Leagues, and we're just talking about his life and talking about his historical significance, being at President Obama's inauguration, and taking a glimpse on African American history.
These are some
So
of,
excited.
now you ain't got to worry about. I can put this back
Okay.
later on. You, but this is what I want. This might not mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you see,
Negro Baseball League,
and these are calendars.
black ball. calendar.
And see you, yeah. But when you can see the teams and the individual players and everything.
Wow, in
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah, see, those are individual players. That,
Days. Yes, sir.
and you might want to.
Wow, we can make sure we get pictures of these.
Okay, and here's
Wow.
another one. Now, let me bust your heart open with
Okay.
this. I played against Tony Stone, the Kansas City Monarch. First black Negro League. She played a woman. She played in the Negro League.
Oh,
With the
wow.
Kansas City Monarchs.
The Negro League females.
Yes, and here's peanut here. She played with the Indianapolis Clowns.
Oh, my goodness. Now, tell me again, what were these ladies' names?
That was Tony Stone, and her name is. Wait a minute, let me see.
Tony Stone.
Yeah, because peanut.
Make sure we get a
And
picture
Goose.
of Tony Stone.
Goose Tatum. That's King Tut. These.
I want to get the picture, get some pictures of Tony Stone.
Wait a minute, I got an individual picture. It's in one. It might be in that one. But see all these teams. See, there she is. See, and that's King Tut and all of. King Tut, Connie Peanut Morgan. There she is.
Wow,
She
Connie
did.
Peanut Morgan.
She played with the Indianapolis Clowns.
Females.
Yeah.
Let me hold it up.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Mr. Brown, we certainly have to come back because there's no way we can get it in
You
one
definitely
setting.
have to
We're gonna
come back. And you know what? When you call me, give me at least a 2-day notice
Uh-huh.
so we can sit down at the table and talk and eat. And once you come back, you'll be glad you.
I just thank you, for just inviting us in.
Listen.
I always have this saying about people who roll out the red carpet for us.
Right.
We just love that. And it's important to us to talk with you
Right.
and understand the
Right.
history.
Now, like I said, I trust you.
Yes, sir.
I really do trust you.
Yes, sir.
Because I trust this guy. I trust this guy from day one when we were standing in line, and he was sincere. But if you want to take any of this with you and bring it back, feel free to do so. I trust
So
you.
we're gonna take pictures of it.
We're just gonna take
And we're
pictures.
gonna
no, sir.
come back and just talk to you more about you had 45 years. Am I
This
right?
is too
45
valuable.
years.
Huh?
This is too
Today,
valuable to take.
45
Yeah.
years as an umpire.
Yes.
All of the significance that you brought to us as African Americans, the work that
Right.
you've done,
Right.
and all of what you've done,
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
awesome. It's just amazing. And before we conclude this interview, please leave us with something that you just feel like would, just add to this interview before we conclude.
First of all, what would you like for me to, add to it? I can, I don't know if you want to know about civil rights movement and all that.
That would be great. As
Yeah.
African American,
Because I lived through it.
yes, that would be great to hear about that.
See, I lived through it. As a matter of fact, once a friend of mine, they in Virginia Beach now. They went to the museum in D.C. and her daughter, she got a 14-year-old daughter, and she had nightmares after she saw the Emmett Till casket and all. That's on display in D.C. at the museum.
The photo of him in the casket.
In the casket.
Mhm.
Now, I was in Alabama when that happened.
You were actually there.
I wasn't in Mississippi,
From Alabama.
but it was in '55. I was just 18 years old
Mm-hmm.
when they carcerated that young man,
Yes, sir.
and they tied him to a gin mill or whatever, a wheel, carcerated him, punched his eyes out, and threw him in the river. Now, the story behind it is how Jet Magazine, when she went, his mom, when she went down to Mississippi to get his body, they had sealed his casket. Because they told her, she said, well, no, I want to make sure. She said, no, you can't open it. If you do, we won't let you have it. So she said, no. She said, no, I'm sorry. You got to take it as is. She said, okay. So she agreed. She brought his body back to Chicago. And Johnson H. Johnson, Jet Magazine reporter convinced her to open that casket.
Open it up.
That's how
the
picture got out.
Where she says, I'm going to leave this casket open because I want everybody to see what they did to my son.
They did to my child.
That was brave.
Yes.
That was brave of her.
Yeah.
I remember that picture. I can see it vividly in my mind.
Right,
it makes a difference. Yeah.
And at the same time that this happened, it happened. I believe I think it was on a Friday. That same day, two of my best friends were shot and killed in the Black Warrior River in Tuscaloosa.
So tell me, as a black man, as African American man, was there a level of fear amongst? Were you afraid? And people that you know, was there some level of fear, understanding what the climate was at that time?
Sure. Because let me tell you, I never known. Not only my father, the men in my community and everything, I never known to be called a man by a white man.
Okay. Boy, was that the term?
You had three names, no matter what your birth name was. From the white man's standpoint, it was boy, nigger, from 1 to 50. And then after 50, you was boy, nigger, and uncle. And the ladies was girl, nigger, and auntie.
Wow. So when you're over 50, you became uncle and auntie. But
That's
other than that, it's boy, nigger, auntie, or uncle.
Yeah.
I just learned something.
Yeah. Because you had fear. I never, and my dad, this is the story that I tell all the time. My dad's birthday was in March, so his driver's license had expired. So he goes downtown Tuscaloosa. He said, I'm with him. So it was done in the winter time, so he had a coat on and cap and everything. So we goes into BVM. This big old guy was sitting behind the desk. Pop. We stood there for about 15 minutes. Nobody was there. So we just stood there in front of the desk. So he finally looked up. And he looked up at me and my dad. And I'm just about 8. I know I wasn't 10 years old. He looked at me, he said, what you want, boy? So my dad said, before my dad could say anything, the first thing he said, what you want, boy? And take your damn hat off. So my dad naturally pulled his off. I pulled mine off. And my dad said, well, I want to get my driver's license renewed. Oh, get on over there and sit down. I bet you 10 more white people came in there, and they didn't have to. They went right on through, got their license and everything. He finally called my dad over. And is that humiliating to you? I got my son here, and
They got to deal with that.
Huh?
They got to deal with
And he
that.
had to deal with it. And I in high school, this is an incident that happened to me. I was coming home in my dad's car. I don't know why the police stopped me on the road. They never did tell me. But they didn't need no reason to stop a black person in a car. They felt like it was 2 of them, so they ain't gonna pull me over. Where you going, boy? I said, I'm going home. He said, no, let me see your driver's license and my billfold. So I wanted my billfold. I pulled my billfold. Now I had pictures in there of my classmates and everything. So this one picture, I was flipping through to get my license. This girl, her name was Dorothy Brownlee. You couldn't tell her from white. Because we called at school, we called her red bone.
That's what they got the term today.
And you know what? The only thing saved me was they had our school initial on the bottom of that picture. And they knew that she was black. And he snatched that billfold and he went straight to that picture. And when they saw that initial down there, they knew that she was a black girl. And I mean, Dorothy, she could take, hair long, and she looked white. Cause we, she was a drum major in high school with us, And man, but I got to tell you what, that thing could drink some liquor. But she could march, she could step. So when he saw that, he gave me my billfold back. And you know what he did? He said, you better drive right on the rest of the way. I said, yes, sir. And in getting in my car, do you know he kicked me in my butt?
Wow.
And what could I do?
Nothing.
And I didn't want, so man, I would have, no, you would have did exactly what I did. You would have got in your car
and did what you
drove on home. And I didn't even tell my parents. Because what good was it
What was going to do?
What they do?
Nothing they can do and nothing they can say or anything.
Nothing. But I can tell you this, and I know we got a lot to talk about. But my dad, let me tell you this right quick. My father had TV from this old pipe shop. He developed TV where he worked. There was no, what they called a fresh air camp, TV hospital in Tuscaloosa at the time. They had one in Birmingham for blacks, but it was full. So we had to my dad had to go to Montgomery to the TV hospital down there, which was about 10 miles out from the city of Montgomery. 18 months he was there. I carried my mama down every Sunday for 18 months. We were right in the middle of the bus boycott.
Wow. Wow.
So I can tell you some stories.
We got some stories.
Yeah.
So in the midst of this, because I was born in 78.
Okay.
Of course, none of that was going on at the time.
No.
I've had every opportunity to do everything I've wanted to do.
That's right.
And I feel like nobody can stop me
No.
from taping this message.
No, not today.
From walking the streets, from eating, from saying, for that matter, whatever I want to say to anybody.
There you go.
So I didn't experience that time where I had to be quiet even though I wanted to say something or not do something that I wanted to do. And given that you've experienced that, what would you say to our, let's say even millennials, those individuals that are 30 or less, about today and what they can
I tell you what I would say, and this is the truth, and this is coming from here. I would say the same thing to a group of each individual. The same thing that I said to your daughter on that bus. Baby, please get you a good education.
Get the education.
Get your education.
Be educated.
Because you can be anything you want to be today. Huh? That's what I would say.
Today. You can do it today. There's no limits today.
There's no limit.
Yeah.
Well, that was proven. That was proven in 2008. That was proven.
That was proven.
Huh?
That was proven. That was proven.
And you said, well, but he was a little boy coming along, just like I was. But the opportunity today, all you got to do is apply yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all I would say.
Yeah.
And I told your husband can tell you, I talked to your daughter. And I told her, I told her, make sure you tell your mama about them 2 B's.
What are the 2 B's?
The B's she got on her report card.
Oh, the B's.
No, I told her about the 2 B's. I told her, I said, now you make sure. I told your daughter, I said, you make sure. I said, you're a nice, good-looking young lady, but you make sure you put them B's in proper perspective. You put that book before that boy.
Books before boys. That's
Yes.
right.
She know. I told
Well, she listened. She's a straight A student.
That's
now,
right.
Straight hundreds.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right.
Yeah. So that
And you see these girls right up there?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Every one of them was, all four of them was in college at the same time.
At the
And
same
only
time.
one of them was on a scholarship, and that's the youngest one.
Mm.
On the end, right there at the top end there.
Wow.
All the rest.
Wow.
But they got student loans and and everything, but still, man.
They got through it. You bald head because of
I
it.
said, Lord have mercy. What happened? Why did I have? But and my wife, their mother, that's not their mother. That's my second wife. Their mother never worked because that's why I always had two jobs. I worked for the government, and that's when umpiring was my part-time job. But I made good money doing it. And when I stopped, after I retired from the government, then it became my full-time. I did it full-time. And
45 years total.
45 years total.
Wow. Well, it's amazing.
It's-
And I'm just
so
bubbling over inside because I know we can't get it all. We got to get it in segments.
Listen.
We're only 3 hours away, so we're
Right.
coming back and catching this.
And listen, if you don't get back before I get down there, I'll let you know, and whatever I need to bring with me until he coming back.
Yeah, we're gonna come back and forth because we need this. We need to
Okay.
hear the African American
Now-
history.
Yeah, and I just got a call my former wife, nephews, and all of them, because we didn't have no children. Because they'll be here for the CIAA basketball tournament,
Okay.
which is the last week of February, 25th through the 29th, because this is a leap year. Next year's a leap year. So I'll be here. I'm not going no place.
Okay.
Yeah. And anytime you feel like you want to come this way to see me, please just make sure I'm here.
We're gonna do that.
And you won't have to worry about a thing. I don't have no house on the top of the hill, but I have right down here. But I got a nice.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
comfortable. We're comfortable.
We're
And we
simple
thank
people.
you. We thank you for sharing with us
Oh
and
my
that
God,
this
man.
work
You just
of
don't
giving
know.
this information
Mr.
to
Brown,
our
you don't
youth.
know.
You just don't
We
know.
appreciate it. You just don't know
You
what
don't
it
know.
means to just hear from
guys
you,
have
and
heard from me.
it's very inspiring.
I said, Lord, I felt so bad. I said, boy, I didn't think about it. I got to church, and then I said, oh my God. But I did. I told you I was going to be here till 1:30.
About to 1:30, yeah.
And I said, oh my God. I said, I got to go back to church. I said, oh man, let me call
That's
Kevin and
good.
tell him.
That's all we needed to know. Yeah, we got what we got today, Mr.
We're gonna
Brown.
come back.
And when you pulled up out there, I said, oh my God, here they are.
That
Yeah,
is him. That is him, yeah.
And that just was enough.
Well,
Right?
Mr. Brown, you just don't know. I've been trying for years to come. Since I met you, to come down
But
here.
you told me.
I told you I was coming,
You told me.
and I knew my wife would enjoy it and everything. And we're coming back.
Absolutely fantastic.
We're definitely coming
Oh,
back.
and by the way, that picture there, all these pictures here,
Yeah.
that was on my 80th birthday party. I had all my family here, most of my
Oh
family
wow.
here. They was here to celebrate my 80th birthday
Your
party.
80th birthday, your entire
That was 2
family.
years ago.
Yeah.
So let's go out just kind of looking at your family members. We turn this camera around here, my angel, to this picture.
And you see,
Talk about this
that's my
top.
grandson and my son, right
Yeah.
at the top there.
Uh-huh.
And that's me and all of my kids there. That's my oldest son there, right just below them.
Here.
Wait a minute. Now, see right here? Right
This
there.
picture.
No, right here.
This one.
That's my oldest son and me.
Okay.
And that's my two daughters. That's my twin daughters, and that's the youngest daughter, the twin daughter,
Okay.
and that's my only granddaughter right there. That's her baby.
Baby.
She's holding. No, right
baby, yeah.
there.
Uh-huh. There's mom and daddy.
Yeah.
Picture that we saw.
Oh, yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we was at.
Good time.
Oh man, we had a front yard party, And the backyard
And
party.
the backyard.
The backyard party was up in Gastonia, my
Oh,
friend's
my
backyard. He got a
goodness.
big old backyard.
Okay.
But we did it right here in the front, man, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's great.
You see what that says?
Meet the real Browns.
Meet the real Browns.
Meet the Browns.
Yes.
Well, it's been awesome. I want to make sure we get some
really
photos
did,
with
yeah.
you, Mr. Brown.
Well,
It's been great. We're going to come back and dig deep. Before we go, I want to show this picture. You said this is your son,
Grandson.
your grandson.
Yeah, this her son. That's my grandson. This is her youngest son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she has 2 sons,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's the youngest there.
This is the youngest
Yeah.
grandson. Now, who did he play for?
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, he was a wide receiver. He was 6'5".
Yeah. I'm
Thank
getting
you
a
so
picture
much.
of this.
Thank you so much. Y'all
Thank
don't-
you.
No,
Thank
oh
you.
my
Thank you,
Lord.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.